Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be working on the 330 once again. If you guys have an E46, you guys know these cars come with plastic coolant lines, and they also have a plastic CCV, which is the crankcase vent. So this car's been leaking from the coolant. I can see where it's leaking out of. It has a plastic line there that's kind of brittle, so it's probably got a little crack in it or something. And my CCV system, I'm not sure if it's working really properly. It's been in the car since I got it, so I don't know if they've ever changed it. It's really oily and dirty when I first cleaned out the manifold, and now I want to go ahead and replace it since I don't know the condition of it. It's never been replaced, so for all we know, it's leaking. So those two items tend to fail on these cars. I got to take the manifold to get to the coolant lines. So now that we're gonna have that off, we might as well change out the CCV system. So I ended up picking up all the parts. Let's get to it. I'll show you what we're gonna do here. So these are the hard lines that go behind the intake manifold. So you really can't see them. You got to get the manifold off. But these lines right here, they have a couple O-rings. They get real brittle, so they tend to break right after the O-rings. I know I changed them on my other E46. When I took it off, they snapped right there. So this is very common. All E46s have this problem. Real easy fix. You just got to get the manifold off, which is the trickier part. But we've done this job so many times, I can get through it right away. So I got those there, and since we're gonna have the manifold off, I ended up picking up the whole new CCV system. So we got the valve, we got all the hoses that go attached to this. So you can see some of these hoses are actually pretty flexible. Once you're trying to get them off the car, they tend to snap. They're not that flexible anymore. I also ended up picking up a tensioner. This right here is a hydraulic tensioner. So the car usually comes with a mechanical one. These are supposed to be better and last longer. So we're gonna end up replacing that because I get a little vibration from the belts and the pulleys, and they squeak a little. So I think the tensioner is pretty worn out. So I'm gonna switch it out with this one. I don't know if we're gonna get to that on this video, but we're definitely gonna do these two items. Guys, if you haven't done this job before, basically the goal is we got to get the manifold off. So start with all the basic stuff. Take off all your plastics here. Mine's already off. I'm always messing with the car. So we're gonna pull the filter off. These are pretty easy. There's just two bolts there. Snap the clips off the back here, and then we got to pull the hose off for the intake so we can access the throttle body down there, and a couple of hoses and clips that we need to remove to get to it. So let's get to it here. It's pretty simple. I already got the screws off of here. Back here there's a clip you just got to pop off. It comes off the map right there. Same thing on the other side. There it is, got it off. So that will literally separate the MAF sensor from your air filter. So now we just got to pull the air filter off, which if you want to take the cover off the top, you got a couple clips here, but it's not necessary. It just takes two hands. Let me put the camera down and I'll pull it out. There it is. Actually, I didn't have to. So the filter's off there. Now we got a lot more room here. Now let's go ahead and take this hose off so we can get to a couple screws down here, a couple little clips that we got to disconnect, and then we'll pull off the fuel rail as well. So we got to get that out of the way so we can get to all the bolts that hold the manifold. We're not going to completely pull the fuel rail off. Forgot to mention, you want to take these 4 screws. There's one there, and 2 more up here. This is your cabin filter, I guess, bracket. So this comes off pretty easy once you get those screws off. Get that out of the way. It's going to give you a lot more room for you to get the valve cover off. So we got that off now. I ended up getting the hose off here. So now what we got to do is we got to take off the bolt that's holding this electrical harness right here, and then we got to pull the diesel valve off as well, and disconnect as many hoses that are held onto the manifold as needed. So I got the electrical connector for the fuel rail off. So basically you got these little clips here, and then I got the clips that go and actually hold the rail and the injector together. They look like these. So got those off. I got a really good detailed video in one of my other videos, so check out the channel and it'll explain how to take those off. Now we're gonna go ahead and pull the rail off complete, the fuel rail. So I got the manifold off. It's always a little bit tight with all the hoses and clips and everything, but we got it off. This is where the coolant leak's actually happening. As you can see, the hose back here, it's been leaking a little bit. So we got the 2 new ones. We're gonna swap those out, and then we'll swap out all the hoses that go to the CCV system, and we'll get this back together. Should be pretty smooth. Okay guys, I got both hoses off. Sure enough, as you can see, they literally broke off. So the whole end came off of there. Here's the new one, for example. So it's missing a piece of it. stuck in the engine. I'm gonna fish it out and then we'll switch them out. So basically got them out there, just gotta clean out that piece that's stuck in there, and then they should be ready to come back in. So I got both hard lines replaced already. They're back together, connected. So now we're gonna go ahead and get this intake torn apart. So hey guys, so we got the intake manifold off. We're just gonna go ahead and pull the CCV valve off of it. So it's got a couple screws right there and just pretty much the hoses. These are all hardline hoses, so they just clip on. So let's get it off and then we'll get this back on the car. Getting all these lines back here is gonna be a little bit tricky. This is on the back of the intake manifold. It's just a hose check valve that goes from here to here and a connection, but it's really tight, so that's where it gets kind of hard. All right guys, so I got it off already. Pretty much just bolted it right there to screws, took off the hoses from the front right here. So now we'll go ahead and put the new ones in. So first step is actually just putting in the valve here, couple screws, and then all the hoses will just literally pop in. So this will pop in right there. The Y, this one right here that has a little Y on it, it's gonna go up in here in the manifold and then connect right to the diesel valve, to the CCV valve. And then this one here is just gonna go across the manifold. So let me get those on there and we'll keep going here. All right guys, so we got it all wrapped up, put everything back together. Didn't want to show you guys and bore you with that. You guys done it before, then you know how to do it. If you haven't, you'll figure it out. It's not that hard. But another thing you want to make sure is before you start the car up, make sure you have no fuel leaks. So turn on your car, but don't start it. Just check for fuel and make sure you're not leaking. If anytime you touch the injectors of the rail, you want to make sure that's good. So I already checked it out, no leaks there. We started it up, so now we just gotta top off the coolant and take it out for a spin, see how it runs, make sure no leaks there. But this wasn't a full detailed video, didn't want to get into everything, just want to show you a quick recap of how to switch those parts out. So there it is. That's going to be it for today's video. If you guys liked it, give us a like, subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.